what point does that become murder? But look, we can talk about all of that and much more for the next 2 hours. Hold on, everyone.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will see very clear skies across many parts of the UK, leading to frost and fog patches first thing this weekend, followed by a beautiful sunny Saturday for the vast majority. High pressure remains in charge as we go into the weekend. The one fly in the ointment is this weak weather front that's going to bring thicker cloud into the northwest of Scotland overnight. Outbreaks mostly light rain for the Outer Hebrides, the Northwest Highlands, Orkney and Shetland. Now away from this area, patchy cloud, but more especially mist and fog patches forming overnight. So poor visibilities, but the fog's going to be shallow, and despite it being a cold start to the day with a frost in places, actually very soon through the morning the sun will warm things up, the mist and fog will lift, sunny skies will be back across a large part of England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland as well, doing very well for sunshine during the morning, but cloud is starting to lap at the shore of the north of Northern Ireland, and thicker cloud will remain through the Northwest Highlands as well as the Northern and Western Isles. Some light outbreaks of rain coming out of that cloud, but nothing particularly significant. And further south, there's barely a cloud or a drop of rain in sight. It's a blue skies day for England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, the sunshine turning milky as thicker cloud rolls in. And in the far northwest, feeling cool because of the cloud and those outbreaks of rain, 9 to 11 Celsius. Warm in the sunshine further south, but that leads us on to another clear night and another frosty start in the southeast. First thing Sunday, any early mist patches soon lifting, another sunny one to come for the southern half of the UK. Thicker cloud further north for Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, and some light outbreaks of rain. Next week brings more changeable weather and later on a colder feel.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could be the proud owner of a brand new Benivan 122. This very latest 2026 model comfortably sleeps 4, comes complete with built-in kitchen, compact washroom and is worth over £67,000. But that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £25,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like in the coming year. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
Thank you very much for coming. It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight... Yeah, so should Britain ban mass public Islamic prayers? And... Can you guess what some of the illegals deported under the one-in, one-out deal with France have done now? Plus...
I tell you that there's enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting. And if you think that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them.
Yeah, very keen to get people's views on this. So as your bills almost inevitably go up, is that a small price to pay to destroy the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime? And I'm very keen to get people's views on this as well. Deeply controversial topic. Britain has decriminalised abortion up to the point of birth. Is that murder? And...
Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him.
I think we might have reached peak Starmer, OK? So I've got a feeling, it's just my view, that he's lying about being lied to. Which is amazing, isn't it? What do you think about it? That's surely that's how it ends. But anyway, another damning twist in the Starmer-Mandelson affair. And...
Man said, yo, that. Man's grabbing everything today, you know.
Right, who in this room has ever confronted a shoplifter? Yes? Yeah, there's a few. There's a few of you. Good, right. Well, I'm looking forward to this because Kemi Badenoch said she would, but not if they're massive. She doesn't fancy that. Anyway, on my panel tonight, we have got the Labour MP for Brent West. It's Barry Gardner. Oh, it's the best one yet. It's the best one yet. We've also got the Head of Communications at the Adam Smith Institute making her Friday night debut. It's Joanna Marchand. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo Foufas. And Reform UK councillor Russell Quirk. I can feel that it's going to be a good one tonight. So get ready, Britain. Here we go. So should Britain ban mass Islamic prayers? That's next.
Patrick, thank you and good evening. The top stories. US President Donald Trump says the UK should have acted a lot faster in allowing America to use British bases to strike Iranian missile sites targeting the Strait of Hormuz. Speaking outside the White House, Mr. Trump also said it would be nice if nations that use the strait, like China, were to get involved, also adding that he doesn't want to do a ceasefire.
You know, we don't use the strait. The United States, we don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one. I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed.
That's as ministers agreed to let the US use British bases to strike Iranian sites targeting the key shipping route. Downing Street said UK bases will now be used for US defensive operations to degrade the missile sites and capabilities being used to attack ships. Up until this point, the government has allowed the US to use British bases only to hit missile sites targeting British interests in the region. Meanwhile, trusted forecasters have predicted that average annual energy bills will rise by over £300 in July. That's more than double the previously anticipated increase due to high oil and gas prices driven up by the war in Iran. It says UK gas prices surged by 25% yesterday, and interest rates are expected to rise twice this year, leaving households facing higher bills that could last for years to come. The head of the UK's Border Command has quit after failing to reduce small boat crossings. Martin Hewitt, a former senior police officer, stepped down from his role leading the Border Security Command. That's as over 100 have crossed so far today, as there's been a surge in good weather. Around 4,000 have already crossed so far this year. A Home Office spokesperson thanked Mr Hewitt for his leadership following his departure. 2 people have been arrested after attempting to enter Britain's nuclear missile base. Police Scotland confirmed a 34-year-old man, understood to be Iranian, has been arrested after trying to get into Faslane Naval Base. Meanwhile, a 31-year-old woman has been arrested in connection. Inquiries are ongoing. And action movie star Chuck Norris has died at the age of 86. Norris was best known for being an expert at martial arts. He was a black belt in 5 disciplines, including karate and judo. He went on to be a film star after appearing alongside Bruce Lee in a movie. Norris also became a successful author. Those are the latest GB News headlines. More from me in an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Everyone who's made the trip to be here tonight. There is loads to go at. So I want to start with this. Should Britain ban mass public Islamic prayers? Nigel Farage thinks so.
We wouldn't want to stop individuals praying, but mass prayer is banned. Mass Muslim prayer is banned in many Muslim countries in the Middle East itself. So yes, we have to stop this kind of mass demonstration, provocative demonstration in historic British sites, because that's what it is.
Well, his comments came after this earlier this week. And look at this today in Birmingham.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
So Starmer said that Tory Shadow Justice Minister Nick Timothy should be sacked for saying that events like that are a sign of domination straight out of the Islamist playbook.
Shadow Justice Secretary. He said last night that Muslims praying in public, including the Mayor of London, practising his faith, are not welcome. He described it as an act of domination, straight from the Islamist playbook. If we're in my team, he'd be gone. It's utterly appalling. She should denounce his comments and she should sack him.
Just so the one thing about that you can tell, right, is that in his notes it obviously said point at him when you say God, because he's got... If he was in my team, he'd be... gone. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Not really a power move, but anyway. Kemi Badenoch defended Nick Timothy.
He wants to talk about justice secretaries. His justice secretary is abolishing jury trials.
Yeah.
My shadow justice secretary is defending British values. I know who I would rather have sitting on the front bench next to me, and it's not him.
Well, today, Lord Hermer, who is Keir Starmer's great friend and regrettably our Attorney General, said Nick Timothy has said that mass prayer in public places is an act of domination, but when he and Kemi Badenoch are questioned about his appalling views, they seem to only have an issue with Muslim events. Timothy and Badenoch's comments beg the question, would they have a problem if I, as a Jewish man, were praying in public? Or is it just Muslim prayer they find offensive and contrary to British values? That's what he has said. So the Conservative Party, like Reform and Tommy Robinson, is seeking to divide Britain, he continued. Instead, they should be celebrating our, quote, brilliantly welcoming and diverse country. Well, I would like to see Lord Hermer and Keir Starmer attend a mosque together in, say, Tower Hamlets or Bradford or Batley, where a teacher is still in hiding after he was hounded out by a mob for allegedly showing a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad to some kids. I wonder whether they'd still think that we live in a brilliantly wonderful, welcoming and diverse country. And I say that because just look at what happened in Australia today to their ultra-woke, liberal, progressive Prime Minister when he tried to go to a mosque.
One is incomprehensive. Get him out of here! We as Australian Muslims. Get him out of here! He's the president.
Well, there we go. Starmer has already been slammed by the South Wales Islamic Centre when he attended shortly after the October 7th massacre. And today, Zara Sultana, the MP, posted this. Politicians like Keir Starmer and Anthony Albanese, who's the Australian PM, have enabled Israel's genocide in Gaza. They visit our mosques expecting smiles and selfies. What did they think was going to happen? Well, look, I must say, I do find some of the posts about Ramadan and Eid by Sadiq Khan quite comical. He's gone for this one today. I think we can show you that. After a month of fasting dawn till dusk, never has a flat white tasted so good. I don't think we seem to have a picture of that, annoyingly. But am I missing something here? Because dawn was about 6:10 in the morning, I think. But more importantly as well, dusk was about, what was it? I think it was about 6:10 this evening or whatever. Can't you just have a flat white then? I don't know. I mean, is it really that much of a chore? Anyway, should mass public Islamic prayers be banned in Britain? Let's discuss it. So, start with my panel here. Let's start with you, Russell. What do you think?
Yes, because look, this is not just a case of prayer. Of course, nobody has an issue with whatever religion praying and praying in public. But the issue here, of course, is that of scale. And I think what Nick Timothy has said, what Nigel Farage has said, what Kemi Badenoch has said, and even Dr Taj Hargate, who is actually an imam, has agreed with all of them and said this is too much. This goes way too far on the basis that, to some, it will be intimidating, it will be provocative. It is an act of dominance, as I think Nick Timothy put it. We are a Christian country, and some will say, many will agree with this, that this is part of the creeping Islamification of Britain, on the basis that this is designed to intimidate. And when you look at the numbers, when you look at the data that says that some 32% of Muslims think that Islam should be the dominant religion in Britain. That was a survey in 2024 by JL Partners. And the same amount, 32%, also believe that Sharia law should be dominant across Britain. And this, I think, is why people should be very, very concerned about this. It is too much.
Christo?
OK, there's a lot to unpack with this because I think there is an issue with the scale. I think that's a reasonable comment. And by the way, I defend Nick Timothy's right to open up this debate because I think he is right that people are uncomfortable. And the reason I think people are uncomfortable is because of the issue of Islamic extremism. And I think that people associate, understandably, the horrific acts of Islamic extremism that we've seen that have caused people to die, terror attacks, plus the other acts of Islamic extremism, like Patrick pointed out, the grammar school teacher in Batley and all of those things, and then they associate that with seeing a great number of Muslims praying together. And the reason that it is seen by some commentators as different to, say, an act of Jewish people or Christians praying is because in the Quran, it supposedly says that public prayer is an act of domination. That's why Nick Timothy said it's an act of extremism. The issue I have, in answer to your question, should it be banned? I think my gut says no. And I'll tell you why. Because by banning it, what you're saying is that every single person who is carrying out that prayer is an extremist. And I think we're getting into dangerous ground by saying that. Do I like public acts of worship? Not particularly. I wouldn't like to see any, but I have to tolerate it. We live in a free society. We're not an Islamic country where these sorts of things are banned. And in Britain, freedom means we have to be free to tolerate things that we feel uncomfortable about. And if I were Nick Timothy, the hill I would have probably died on was something. I mean, an act of extremism is what happened to the guy in Batley. An act of extremism is the grooming gangs. That's extremism. I don't know whether I would say an act of mass prayer is.
OK, all right. I mean, there have been some rather unfortunately timed acts of mass prayer in this country. There was one not so long after the October 7th massacre, you know, at which they were talking about things like, you know, we wish victory for the people of Gaza and all of that.
It was the day after.
The day after. Which, in that context, does that mean victory for Hamas? I mean, they would probably deny that. But again, at that particular moment in time, to have a mass prayer there, some could argue that that was maybe an attempted show of force in a way. Joanna, what would your views be on this? Do you think that Nigel Farage is right that we should be banning mass Islamic prayers?
I don't know if we go down the road of banning something like this, I think it could do more harm than good. What we're saying is this event, firstly, they say that they invited loads of people. They wanted to join the communities together. That's their kind of excuse, and saying they invited everyone and everyone could have joined. I mean, you look at that video and it's all grown men in speaking a different language, something I can't understand, very domineering. I mean, myself as a woman, like, am I really going to go into that crowd and say, oh, yeah, let's all be friends, I really want to learn about what you're doing here, even though if
the women were segregated. The women were separated.
Well, there you go. They hold awful views about women, and I think when we're actively kind of trying to include them and giving them the space, you have Catholic events, you have Jewish events that are scaled down massively because it's not safe, and that's the excuse we use. Look at the football fans, the Jewish football fans that were actually told they couldn't go, and it was a massive scandal because they lied about the evidence. And that's the length we're going to stop those religions having any kind of public space. But for the Muslim community, we can't say anything about it or just say how uncomfortable it is actually making us. I mean, I wouldn't want to walk through Trafalgar Square when that's happening. That being said, I don't think Nigel Farage should be, if he's presenting himself as
You're quite against banning stuff, I take it, as a principle.
Yeah, kind of.
OK. Right, Barry, let's come back to you here. I mean, what do you make of this idea that it's a show of domination and that it possibly should be banned?
On the 16th of December last year, 3,500 people attended the wonderful Hanukkah Live event in Trafalgar Square. There was a 26-foot tall menorah, and it was all organised by the Jewish Leadership Council. There were public prayers. In fact, there were public prayers for the victims of Bondi Beach, and it was a great event. Nigel Farage didn't call for it to be banned because it was public prayer. Presumably, he wants this year's event, this year's Hanukkah event in December, to be banned. On the 12th of October last year, 35,000 people celebrated the Hindu festival of Diwali in Trafalgar Square. There were prayers, there were meditations, there were processions of the idols, the gods. Again, he didn't call for it to be banned. Does he want that to be banned this year because it's public prayer? And next week, on Good Friday, I'm a Christian, and the Passion of our Lord will be graphically portrayed in Trafalgar Square. Thousands of people will be there. There will be public prayer, Christian public prayer. And it's been happening now for 16 years. He didn't call for that to be banned. So why is it that the only thing that he calls for to be banned is Muslim public prayer? Hinduism is not part of the British national religion, and actually I'm not sure that Christianity is more practiced than it's talked about. We talk about Britain as a Christian country. I'm proud to be a Christian, but lots of people who call it a Christian country don't go to church and don't actually worship Jesus Christ and as our Lord.
Can I ask you something?
Can I just... I want to say, Christo, I really agreed and respect what you said, and I think you're absolutely right. You know, I can understand that people feel uncomfortable sometimes when they see... I mean, goodness knows, on Good Friday, people will go into Trafalgar Square and they will see 3 men being crucified. Because that's what does. They reenact the Passion of our Lord. That's a pretty disturbing sight. But it's there as a public expression of faith.
Barry, can I ask, do you acknowledge, though, because, you know, I stand by everything I said, but the only thing that I wonder if we need to acknowledge in people's discomfort and why they feel uncomfortable is because, different to what you've mentioned about the Jewish faith, Hindu, Christianity, it is apparently in the Quran that an act of prayer publicly is about dominance, and also those other faiths don't have the baggage, for want of a better word, it's a clumsy term, of extremism associated with it. So how do we square that?
I think as Christians we've got to be very careful, because for many people there is baggage with Christianity. Christianity, you know, we as Christians went... I'm not just talking about the Crusades, no. I'm talking about the way in which Christians went to the New World and in South America brought diseases, you know, and murdered, well, actually caused genocide for whole populations. So Christianity comes with a lot of baggage too for some people.
But not very recent baggage. I think that's the difference.
No, absolutely.
Are the Aztecs offended when we point to the cross? I mean, that's the...
Look, I'm not sure Richard the Lionheart is part of recent history in terms of him being valid in this particular argument.
The morals associated with those other religions are very different as well. It's extremely different. The type of festivals that are put on are extremely different. They're more welcoming, inclusive, they're more fun. I mean, you saw the videos. How do you get involved in a procession like that in a language that you don't know, a group of men, women are segregated?
It's a question of intimidation, and that the British public, the Christian British public, believe that because of what Christos said in terms of what seems to be prescribed in the Quran...
I don't think most people knew that was what the Quran said, quite honestly, Russell.
There aren't many Protestant, Catholic or Hindu parts of those religions that are prescribed as terrorist organisations, for instance. Whereas, unfortunately, when it comes to the Muslim faith, the fact that 80% of people on the MI5, MI6 watch list are Muslim. It's just a matter of fact. People in Britain feel intimidated, dominated and controlled, and as the imam that I've just mentioned here, Dr. Taj has said, he also, as a Muslim, sees this, what's happened in Birmingham and London over the last 24 hours, as an act of control and provocation himself. That's the difference between the religions.
Can I just say, I mentioned earlier Sadiq Khan, who's been posting about Ramadan, etc. There is a picture I think we can show you. This was a post on X, social media company X, and it's him was saying, you know, oh gosh, after fasting from dawn till dusk for a month. But for me, it was quite funny, the picture itself, because I think he's deliberately trying to make himself look as malnourished and tired as possible. He is. He's doing the thing. And we are seriously talking about a bloke who could have happily had a coffee basically before about 5 a.m. or after about 6 p.m. at any point this month.
The problem is he's closed all of the roads on the way to coffee shops and put charges on for all the drivers, so unfortunately that's why he can't get to one.
All right. Well, there we go. Right, OK, so look, that's the first topic of the day anyway. We've got loads more coming your way. There's the latest scandal involving Mandelson and Starmer. I also am desperate to talk to all the people in this room who have tackled a shoplifter. So there we go. But before that, it's the latest Great British Giveaway, isn't it? I'll just tell you now what's in it to win it. Here it is.
A camper van and cash could be yours in our very latest Great British Giveaway. You could be driving away in this brand new Benavan 122. This 2026 model, worth over £67,000, comes with all of the mod cons you'd expect. Alloy wheels, solar panel, electric step and plenty of storage space. Plus, it comfortably sleeps 4 people. It's the ultimate home from home. And that's not all, as you'll also get an incredible £25,000 in tax-free cash to boost your bank account this year. It's a prize package worth over £92,000 and it could be yours. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, OK, so look, good luck, everybody, if you've entered that. We have got a heck of a lot coming your way. There's even someone on the panel who's caught a shoplifter tonight. There's a few people in the audience as well, so I can't wait to talk about that. We've got the fact that the illegal migrants are now coming back to Britain after we've deported them in this loads-in, one-out deal with the French. And we will be dealing with the Peter Mandelson Keir Starmer scandal that has rumbled on. I've got a little clip for you, I think, on this.
Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him.
I think Starmer might be lying about being lied to, and that is just absolute peak Starmer, isn't it? All that and more next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christys tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
today brought yet another damning twist in the scandal that just won't go away. It's the Peter Mandelson, Keir Starmer issue, isn't it? So, there were reports that suggest that Downing Street rejected the Civil Service Ethics Chief offer to vet Peter Mandelson before he was appointed as US Ambassador. According to the Daily Telegraph, Darren Tierney offered to question Lord Mandelson about his friendship with Epstein and other potential ethics issues, but his offer was rejected. Instead, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, just emailed Mandelson with some questions about the convicted paedophile. It's like, can we just take a second to appreciate how mental that is, right? It's like, OK, hey, you open your laptop up, you know, just a few questions about the convicted paedophile that you're friends with. Would you mind? It's a multi-choice, actually, so you can go... I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Starmer has apologised for appointing Mandelson as US Ambassador, insisting that he was lied to by Mandelson.
Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him.
Well, hang on a minute. When did he lie to you? Because it looks like you didn't actually really speak to him. It's since emerged that the Prime Minister apparently did not speak to him personally before appointing him. That is despite being warned about his links to Epstein. So I do think it looks like he's lying about being lied to, doesn't it, Christys?
Well, then, how can you be lied to repeatedly, as he said in that speech, but then also it turns out that they didn't speak. So if they didn't speak, how can you be lied to repeatedly?
He sent smoke signals up.
Do you know,
he
my
sent
mother...
smoke signals up, I am not friends with that paedophile. That's what it said in the sky.
Or I like the multiple choice question thing. You know, when did you last see? You know, they do it in like 1 to 4 days, 5 to 8 days. When was the last time you spoke to him? My mother always says, my mother gives very good advice, but she always says to be a good liar, you have to have a good memory, but if you tell the truth, you don't need one. And the thing is, he's now lied so many times, he can't remember his lies. Even when he stands with a podium and gives his lies, he doesn't remember that he's told them. Because you can't be lied to repeatedly by someone you've subsequently not spoken to. It's a lie.
Wow. There's a gentleman at the back, I think he wants to make a point. Sir, how are you? Good stuff.
Is Keir Starmer bringing the office of Prime Minister into disrepute and making a complete mockery of parliamentary scrutiny by his failure or refusal to continually not answer any questions about Mandelson or any questions generally from opposition at PMQs?
Yeah, good question. It's a good question, that. Barry, look, OK, so we'll answer that gentleman's question, but also, obviously, there's this issue now about whether or not he's lying about being lied to.
Look, what he said was sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies. He didn't say, I sat down and had a conversation with Peter Mandelson and he told me to my face and I was stupid enough to believe him.
It sort of gives that impression a little bit.
Yeah, but you can find out what somebody said and then subsequently find out that they've been telling lies. So he may have given that impression in the first place, but actually anything that he said has been get-outable, yeah? Because he said, for having believed Mandelson's lies.
It's like he's a lawyer.
And, yeah. The question about this, though, I think the Telegraph got it spot on. And they said, Keir Starmer's team effectively shut out the civil service and left Morgan McSweeney to clear the peer's appointment as US ambassador. And I think that's why Morgan McSweeney is no longer the chief of staff.
One of the other aspects of this, by the way, is one of the other aspects of this is that some people on the left were basically saying that the main reason why they were so keen to have Mandelson in that US ambassador role was because they thought the Americans. He's going to be great with the Americans, he's going to be great with Trump, he's going to be great with all this. And the other story today was that apparently the Trump administration warned Starmer twice that they didn't want Mandelson there. So, I mean, that's kind of fallen apart as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting that there are so many people that have got been caught up in the crosshairs of this, except Starmer. You had McSweeney, obviously now gone. You had Matthew Doyle. Yep. He's gone. Tim Allen quit the job after being in it for 5 months.
Who's this guy?
He was leader of his head of comms for Labour. Quit after 5 months. I mean, there's so many people were ringing alarm bells. Starmer had no choice. He couldn't ignore all those alarm bells. You had it from Trump, you had it from the USA. I mean, everyone kind of knew. It was like an open secret. During his conviction who was it? Epstein's conviction when he was in jail, Mandelson was staying at his flat. I mean,
absolutely.
How ludicrous is that?
Who got pictured in his undercrackers in a Paris apartment with...
Starmer saying he doesn't know. That's just... how stupid do you think we all are?
Just sorry, Russ, just before I go to you, there's a gentleman here who'd like to make a quick point on this.
Well, I would, yeah. One of the aspects I find about this that I find quite despicable is that during PMQs, Starmer criticised Kemi Badenoch and Nick Timothy, calling for his sacking for holding a perfectly valid opinion about something, trying to take the moral high ground as a diversion from talking about Mandelson. And I find that he's reached an absolute new low in that aspect of it. And he's now backed up by Hermer, who's backing up, and the pair of them, they've reached an absolute new low in the moral aspect of this.
There's actually quite a bit of a link between the point that you made and the gentleman at the back, isn't it? Not answering those questions at PMQs. And I think this week was actually the worst example of it that I've seen, where he was asked a straightforward yes or no question. I mean, absolutely straightforward. Did you speak to Mandelson about this stuff? And for him to come back, as you said, 6 times, I think it was in total, and just not answer it, you know, it was ridiculous. But go on, Russell, what do you think?
Yeah, another new low, eh? I mean, how many new lows can we have in the order of new lows? I mean, every week is a new low, isn't it? I was going to raise exactly the same point about PMQs. I think Kemi Badenoch asked him, I think it was 6 times, just for a straight question, an answer to her very straightforward question. But that's not the first time, and it won't be the last time, that Keir Starmer has just refused to answer questions. Why is it called Prime Minister's Questions when the Prime Minister doesn't answer a question? And, of course, a precedent also set by Sadiq Khan, who, if you listen to the Conservative and Reform members on the GLA, the Greater London Assembly, they'll tell you that Sadiq Khan also never answers a question. There's no accountability there whatsoever. I think it's very, very clear with Starmer. The question is, did he actually speak to Mandelson? If he didn't, of course he should have done. Extremely important diplomatic appointment. But also, isn't it just very, very clear to all of us now that Starmer and McSweeney were absolutely determined to appoint Mandelson, no matter what his history and no matter what a bad guy.
We're going to have to get going. I'm sorry, Barry. We're going to have to get going, I'm afraid. Right, look, Lord Mandelson has not responded to previous requests for comment, but we do understand that prior to his arrest, his position was that he was not acting criminally, had not acted criminally, and did not act for personal gain. Peter Mandelson has also previously denied any wrongdoing in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, stating, "I was never culpable or complicit in his crimes. Like everyone else, I learned the actual truth about him after his death." He added that he had relied on assurances of his innocence. That turned out to be horrendously false. Right, coming up, do you remember this?
Let's do it for Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. It's about time we globalise the Intifada!
Yeah, nice chap. So that's the leader of Britain's biggest teaching union, Daniel Kabidi. He's branded Reform UK racist and accused the party of making education a hostile place for some kids. Is he talking rubbish? That's next.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
With high pressure bringing sunny skies to the UK and France this weekend, low pressure has been forced to relocate elsewhere. And one area of low pressure will stay close to the Canaries and Madeira during the next week, bringing slow-moving heavy showers and thunderstorms could cause flash flooding. That also bringing some showers into southern Iberia. Plenty of fine weather through France, into Italy, but another low around Greece and Turkey will also provide heavy showers and thunderstorms.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will see very clear skies across many parts of the UK, leading to frost and fog patches first thing this weekend, followed by a beautiful sunny Saturday for the vast majority. High pressure remains in charge as we go into the weekend. The one fly in the ointment is this weak weather front that's going to bring thicker cloud into the northwest of Scotland overnight. Outbreaks mostly light rain for the Outer Hebrides, the Northwest Highlands, Orkney and Shetland. Now away from this area, patchy cloud, but more especially mist and fog patches forming overnight. So poor visibilities, but the fog's going to be shallow, and despite it being a cold start to the day with a frost in places, actually very soon. Through the morning, the sun will warm things up, the mist and fog will lift, sunny skies will be back across a large part of England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland as well, doing very well for sunshine during the morning. But cloud is starting to lap at the shore of the north of Northern Ireland, and thicker cloud will remain through the Northwest Highlands as well as the Northern and Western Isles. Some light outbreaks of rain coming out of that cloud, but nothing particularly significant. And further south, there's barely a cloud or a drop of rain in sight. It's a blue skies day for England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, the sunshine turning milky as thicker cloud rolls in. And in the far northwest, feeling cool because of the cloud and those outbreaks of rain, 9 to 11 Celsius. Warm in the sunshine further south, but that leads us on to another clear night and another frosty start in the southeast. First thing Sunday, any early mist patches soon lifting, another sunny one to come for the southern half of the UK. Thicker cloud further north for Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, and some light outbreaks of rain. Next week brings more changeable weather and, later on, a colder feel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back with my wonderful live studio audience. And Britain's biggest teaching union has branded Reform UK racist, claiming that the party will make education a, quote, hostile place for children who are LGBT, black, migrant or refugee. Speaking to reporters ahead of the NEU conference in Brighton, obviously, General Secretary Daniel Kabidi blamed Nigel Farage for rising incidents of racism in schools. What's interesting about that, though, is I'd love to see where the racism was coming from and who it was against, right? I'd love to see that, because I might be missing out a key detail there. But anyway, it's not the first time the union has grabbed the headlines with controversial policies. In 2022, the NEU said that the national curriculum should be decolonised, whatever that means. In 2021, Daniel Kabidi was forced to apologise for leading crowds in this chant at a pro-Palestine rally.
Let's do it for Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. It's about time we globalise the Intifada.
Yeah, put him in charge of, you know, the nation's education union, really, I suppose. That's the obvious solution with that chap, isn't it? Right, who should we go for first on this? Anyone wants to have Ashley go on, Toronto?
Yeah, so this is exactly what's wrong with the education system and the union system in general. They're focusing on the wrong thing. I mean, why aren't they focusing on the falling literacy rates in the UK year after year, but instead they're what's really getting them going is like schoolyard bullying. I mean, it's just like, they need to be, this is just, and then them saying that they're going for the Green Party. Of course they've chosen the Green Party. They hate Labour, and now they're doing like unofficial PR for the Greens. I honestly don't understand why we have these union reps, that we give them so much power, and then they want to they actually want to politicise school curriculums. In fact, by saying they want to ban reform and ban all these things and saying they want to limit people. Imagine if you're a teacher and you're thinking about voting reform. You're like silenced now. I mean, if you're a kid coming from a certain family, now you're constantly under watch, and it's the same thing that comes up every year, where schools are becoming highly politicised, but from the left-wing point of view, because it's only right-wing opinions that are apparently demonised and not good for kids.
So literacy
in schools.
Yeah,
I have
fully.
never heard such extremism on a television show in my life.
It'll never catch on.
Absolutely
God forbid I want them to
awful,
read.
you extremist person. Do you know, what I find hilarious about this is that clearly these are people that have never really experienced what reform is like, because you know, they're saying that reform is going to be the prejudice and unsafe for the LGBT community. I mean, when I went to the Reform conference, it was like happy hour at the Blue Anchor. I mean, I've never seen more gays in one place than I did at the Madonna concert. I mean, it is, honestly, you could have thrown a stick and you hit someone in a crop top. You would have done. Like that, it is not a very heterosexual party. I mean, I'm surprised.
Krista, can I just say, I do want to see you in a crop top.
Oh, come on.
Well, it's your lucky... Well, so, you know, I'm not surprised if you've not got an announcement coming, Russell.
No, it's very true. I barely got out of Birmingham alive that weekend, I can tell you. But, yeah, it was... So, look, this is clearly just the left and their demonisation of conservatism with a small c, isn't it? And we've seen it over the years. You know, this takes me back to arguing with my history teacher in the late 1980s, communism versus capitalism and so on. That's what this is. Look, there is no link whatsoever. There is no justification in saying that Reform are in any way homophobic or racist. You talk about the conference. Let me just be clear. The chairman of Reform is LGBT. Zia Yusuf is a Muslim. Layla Cunningham is a Muslim. So it's preposterous to think there's any link between reform and racism. Let me just very, very quickly. My daughters, I've got 3 daughters at school. 2 of them are at state school. One of them, and I won't mention the school, one of them laments the fact that in every one of her geography lessons, the geography teacher, doesn't know her father's a Reform counsellor, by the way, slags off Reform directly to the audience of children on a weekly basis, which is against the law, by the way.
That is illegal.
I know.
That is illegal.
It out, but the other teachers know, and they don't do anything about it, so you're dead right. The right are demonised, the left get away with it.
Before Barry, sorry, there's a lady here who would like to make a point. Is that all right? Yeah?
Do you think...
You've got to stand up for us, sorry. You've got to stand up for us. Sorry, I've sprung it on you here. Go on, take your time.
Do you think it's union that we need to combat because of the propaganda that our children are being taught in classrooms, which is why I now homeschool my 13-year-old son?
Oh, really? That's interesting. Can I ask, you don't have to get too personal with it, but was there a particular thing that made you want to homeschool?
It was views on Nigel Farage, saying he was brought up in the classroom and his safety was put at risk, so I took him out of school.
There you go. It's happening all the time.
So you felt as though your child was genuinely unsafe at school?
Yeah.
Because presumably your child, by the sounds of it, is relatively pro-Nigel Farage. Is that right?
Yeah, there was a teacher and it was views in a classroom that caused a situation that he felt unsafe. That he ended up messaging me, actually, while he was in the classroom to tell me that he felt unsafe.
I'm really sorry.
Nothing's ever done about the left doing it.
Him.
Oh, it's horrendous. Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I hope it's all right now. But let's... go on, Barry,
No, I think that's disgraceful. And if I were you, I would make sure that you make a formal complaint on the basis of that. Look, the union's entitled to its political views about reform. As a political party, I don't like reform's policies. You know, I don't agree with them. I do agree that they're divisive. So in that respect, I'd agree with what the union's saying. But as a union, they can campaign against reform's policies. What they can't do, the union is not entitled to push its particular political opinions inside our schools. All teachers are required by law to be politically impartial in the classroom. Classroom lesson plans must be impartial. They can't favour one political position or policy over another, and that's absolutely right. And on the whole, that's what teachers do, and it's what Ofqual enforces. But when the union says it will produce anti-racist materials for use in the class, that's something which we can all agree, I hope, is a good thing. We don't want racist lesson plans, but of course...
But how's that on the agenda? Sorry. Guess what? That's not a reform policy, by the way.
No, of course it's not. I didn't... No, I never said it was.
Where's this coming from?
I didn't say that. I said it's coming from the union, which said that they are wanting to make sure that there are anti-racist plans. That's fine.
But the problem itself doesn't exist.
But hang on, none of us want racism. But I did think it was odd that Suella Braverman responded to the union, said that teachers are failing children because, in fact, Ofqual's analysis of the grades shows that the number of students achieving grades 7 or above has gone up 2 years in a row and are now higher than they were at pre-pandemic levels. And she also apparently said that diversity, equity and inclusion are, and I quote, poisoning the minds of young people. Well, for the life of me, I can't see why fairness and equity and trying to include people is poisonous. I don't think it is.
Well, we could obviously carry this on. Lots to go back at there, but we are going to move on because there's lots of people in this audience who have tackled a shoplifter in their lives, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. Kemi Badenoch says that she would tackle a shoplifter, but not if he's massive. Talk about that.
I think that's very sensible.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. So, speaking yesterday, Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch called on Brits to take matters into their own hands and directly tackle the scourge of shoplifting.
So if you're in that shop and you see someone doing that, would you intervene?
I think it depends on how big they are.
Good answer. And similarly,
but yes, broadly
you would be. You would if they were not too big.
Would be my instinct. I think people should look after their personal safety. I think those people who are stronger should do more. I know that there is now a tendency for people not to put themselves in harm's way, but I also think that sometimes we need to send a message that this is not acceptable. I mean, Lucinda's is a different kind of shop. A lot of the shoplifting we see is of people stealing little bits of pieces from Greg's.
Yeah, and it's well annoying because I go into Greggs and I have to pay for it. But there we go. Right, so who in this room, show of hands, who in this room would tackle a shoplifter? OK. Oh, good stuff. All right. There's a gentleman here. I noticed your hand did not go up there, sir. Are you in the camp of not tackling shoplifters?
I'm definitely not tackle shoplifters.
Go on,
why? Because I think the police don't want to know with the paperwork, even if they get them. Most of them have got 137 criminal offences previously, and they've got other criminal records. They could stab you with a screwdriver or a pencil or a knife. What would be the point? What have I got to gain by doing that?
Yeah, look, fair enough. I mean, that's definitely one point of view, isn't it, on it? Yeah, so there we go.
Well, lower prices in Greggs, for one.
Well, lower prices in Greggs, yeah, absolutely. Brilliant, sir. Right, OK, take a seat for us. Thank you very much. Now, we actually, you might not know this, but we have a hero in our midst tonight. Yeah, we do. We do. Someone who everyone looks up to, everyone really loves, everyone adores. Someone who should really get a medal for bravery. Yeah. It's Russell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not you.
No,
it's not you.
It's not this time. Not this time.
Unless you also tackled a shoplifter in the street.
No,
Okay.
no.
Move on to
Tackling is doing some heavy lifting.
So Russell, what happened?
So this was the end of last year. I'd been going into my local M&S, which is also a BP petrol station. Look, there it is. There's the local paper. And the manager of the shop would lament every time I went in there the fact that on a daily basis, not just poor people that need a tin of beans, by the way, gangs of organised shoplifters were going in and stealing bottles of wine, steaks, chicken, the whole thing. And he was absolutely sick of the fact that he would ring the police and the police would genuinely not respond. Not at all. Not ever. On the basis that shoplifting has now become completely and utterly decriminalised. It's also my belief is that it's a gateway crime. If you get away with shoplifting, you know, maybe you'll rob a bank. See if you get away with that. Nick a few cars, burgle a few houses, knock over a few grannies. You know, that is the degradation of society that I think ignoring shoplifting makes us end up as. So anyway, I happened to be in there a few weeks after my last conversation with the manager.
Okay.
And lo and behold, someone runs out with a load of steak under their arms, so I chased him, caught him, got the stuff and took it back to
on that heroic note. On that. We're going to come back to this, don't worry, but I've got loads more coming your way in just a few seconds, including... You'll never...
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will see very clear skies across many parts of the UK, leading to frost and fog patches first thing this weekend, followed by a beautiful sunny Saturday for the vast majority. High pressure remains in charge as we go into the weekend. The one fly in the ointment is this weak weather front that's going to bring thicker cloud into the northwest of Scotland overnight. Outbreaks mostly light rain for the Outer Hebrides, the Northwest Highlands, Orkney and Shetland. Now away from this area, patchy cloud, but more especially mist and fog patches forming overnight. So poor visibilities, but the fog's going to be shallow. And despite it being a cold start to the day with a frost in places, actually very soon, through the morning, the sun will warm things up, the mist and fog will lift, sunny skies will be back across a large part of England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland as well, doing very well for sunshine during the morning, but cloud is starting to lap at the shore of the north of Northern Ireland, and thicker cloud will remain through the Northwest Highlands as well as the Northern and Western Isles. Some light outbreaks of rain coming out of that cloud, but nothing particularly significant. And further south, there's barely a cloud or a drop of rain in sight. It's a blue skies day for England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, the sunshine turning milky as thicker cloud rolls in. And in the far northwest, feeling cool because of the cloud and those outbreaks of rain, 9 to 11 Celsius. Warm in the sunshine further south, but that leads us on to another clear night and another frosty start in the southeast. First thing Sunday, any early mist patches soon lifting, another sunny one to come for the southern half of the UK. Thicker cloud further north for Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, and some light outbreaks of rain. Next week brings more changeable weather and, later on, a colder feel.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
A camper van and cash could be yours in our very latest Great British Giveaway. You could be driving away in this brand new Benavan 122. This 2026 model, worth over £67,000, comes with all of the mod cons you'd expect. And that's not all, as you'll also get an incredible £25,000 in tax-free cash to boost your bank account this year. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hello again. Who didn't I get last time? Hello at the back as well. Right, well, it's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight, that's right, this show's changed. No. Should Britain ban mass public Islamic prayers? Farage thinks so, and... Yeah, well, can you guess what some of these illegals deported under the one-in, one-out deal with France have been up to now? Plus...
I tell you that there's enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting. And if you think that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them.
Right, well, we're going to talk about this, and actually it's incredibly topical as well, because on the front page of tomorrow's newspaper, they've gone for the UK is facing new tax hikes over worst energy shock in history. And I'm going to ask whether or not we think this is worth paying in light of the fact that we might be about to destroy the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime. So I'd be keen to get people's views on that. And Britain has decriminalised abortion up to the point of birth. Is that murder? Plus...
Hey, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor, okay?
There will never be anyone else like him, will there? There will just never be anyone else like that man. I mean, oh, gosh. On my panel tonight, we have got the Labour MP for Brent West, is Barry Gardner. OK. We have got the wonderful Joanna Marchok for the Adam Smith Institute. We have got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. And we've got Reform UK councillor Russell Quirk. So, get ready, Britain. Here we go. Starmer's got the name of the deal wrong, right? OK. It's one in, one out, one in again. Next.
Patrick, thank you and good evening. The top stories. Donald Trump says the US is considering winding down his war with Iran. In a post on Truth Social, the US president said, "We're getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East with respect to the terrorist regime of Iran." Turning to the Strait of Hormuz, he says other nations will have to guard and police the key shipping route as necessary after his attacks on the country prompted Iran to target vessels in the crucial world shipping lane. Well, it's as Donald Trump says the UK should have acted a lot faster in allowing America to use British bases to strike Iranian missile sites targeting the Strait of Hormuz. Speaking outside the White House, Mr. Trump also said it would be nice if nations that use the strait, like China, were to get involved earlier, also adding he doesn't want to do a ceasefire.
You know, we don't use the strait. We don't, the United States, we don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one. I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed.
Well, that's as ministers agreed to let the US use British bases to strike Iranian sites targeting the key shipping route. Up until this point, the government has allowed the US to use British bases only to hit missile sites targeting British interests in the region. Meanwhile, trusted forecasters have predicted average annual energy bills will rise by over £300 in July, more than double the previously anticipated increase due to high oil and gas prices driven by the war in Iran. It says the UK gas prices surged by 25% yesterday, and interest rates are expected to rise twice this year, leaving households facing higher bills that could last for years to come. Elsewhere, the head of the UK's Border Command has quit after failing to reduce small boat crossings. Martin Hewitt, a former senior police officer, stepped down from his role leading the Border Security Command. That's as over 100 crossed the English Channel today, as there's been a surge in good weather. Around 4,000 have already crossed for the year. A Home Office spokesperson had thanked Mr Hewitt for his leadership following his departure. And broadcaster Dame Jenny Murray, who hosted BBC Radio 4's Woman's Hour for more than 3 decades, has died at the age of 75. Dame Jenny joined the programme in 1987 and left in 2020 as its longest-serving presenter. During her time on the show, she conducted memorable interviews with female figures as varied as Margaret Thatcher, Hillary Clinton and Margaret Atwood. In 2011, she received a damehood in recognition of her contribution to broadcasting and was made a member of the Radio Academy Hall of Fame during her career. Dame Jenny announced on air in 2006 that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. Those are the latest headlines for now. It's back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
To be here tonight. Great to see so many of you. Now, illegal migrants deported under the so-called one-in, one-out deal with France have broken into Britain again in the back of lorries. Yes, at least 4 of the ones that we sent back to France have now snuck in the back of lorries. 2 of them are still at large. So do you remember when Keir Starmer said this?
This will show others trying to make the same journey that it will be in vain, and that jobs they've been promised in the UK will no longer exist because of the nationwide crackdown we're delivering on illegal working, which is on a completely unprecedented scale. So this is our plan together, hard-headed, aggressive action on all fronts to break the gangs' business model, secure our borders, and show that by attempting to reach the UK by small boat will only end in failure, detention, and return.
That was a good one, wasn't it? That was a good one. I didn't realise he did stand-up comedy as well, you know. That was just brilliant. Fantastic. We've paid the French nearly £500 million to not stop the boats. Under Starmer's one-in, one-out deal, we are paying the full transportation costs of sending them back to France. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually a French scheme, you know, they've kind of signed us up to. It's like, OK, right, we'll make him pay for them and then we'll send them back again and then he'll pay us again to send us more. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now they're coming back in lorries or even just getting another small boat back across, which happened. That happened. One of the first people we sent back just got on a small boat and came back across just immediately, just within a week. Within a week. I almost admire it in a way, to be fair. Last week, another one-in, one-out detainee set for removal back to France won a legal challenge to stay in Britain, which now cast doubt over the whole scheme anyway. Do you know what they argued? They said that victim of human trafficking, a classic of the genre, and that they might not be able to access mental health support in France. Right. Well, so they can get it here, but not in France. In France, everyone's just walking around. They're all just mental. They can't get any support. They can't get any... There's no support. Everyone's in a straitjacket, unable to get any support. This is what Emmanuel Macron sees when he looks at Sir Keir Starmer. It's just... He's just got the word mug on his head, hasn't he? There you go. There he is. Look at that. That's what he sees. As he's at the negotiating table, he's there. He's sat right opposite him, and he's like, Sir Keir, you have something on your face. Starmer has been mugged off in negotiations with the French, with the Spanish over Gibraltar, with Mauritius over Chagos. Now, the Cypriot government wants a frank discussion with Starmer over the UK bases in Cyprus. So it won't be long until they're no longer ours, isn't it? And does anyone remember Chicken Nugget Migrant Man? Easy for me to say. Yeah, remember the old chicken nugget guy? Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's, of course, we couldn't deport him. We couldn't deport him because his son didn't like foreign chicken nuggets. He arrived using a false name, said he was from a country that he wasn't from, and then he was jailed for 2 years after being caught with 250 grand that was known to be the proceeds of crime. So anyway, he was back in court this week because they thought, no, we'll really try and kick him out. Anyway, he won his latest appeal, so he's definitely staying now because a judge ruled that he has a right to a family life under the ECHR. I mean, I don't know why he's complaining, though, because even if we did deport him, he could just come back in the back of a lorry within a few weeks anyway, couldn't he? But let's put the views of my panel on this. I mean, this is pretty farcical, this one-in, one-out scheme. Russell, I can see you smirking away there.
Well, I mean, the next news will be that Border Farce, as I think they should be called, are going to start installing those revolving doors that you see in banks at Dover. We predicted this. I remember being on GB News a few months ago saying, you know what's going to happen when they this one-in, one-out thing happens, or rather kind of 500 in and none out, is they're just going to come back. But the travesty here, of course, is not just the fact that we're a laughingstock and it's embarrassing and so on, is that we're already spending £4 billion a year on asylum seekers' accommodation and the 46 quid a week they get and the trampoline lessons and all the rest of it. But, of course, we also pay these voluntary deportees up to £3,000 to go. Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, wants to increase that to £40,000. What sort of incentive do you think that might give to anybody that is from Syria, Afghanistan or Iraq that's currently in a camp in Calais that might decide, well, actually, I quite fancy going to Britain for a little while, bit of a holiday, 4-star hotel, Premier Inn, or whatever it might be, travel lodge, flat screen telly, 3 meals a day. I'll take my 40 grand, I'll go back, and then I'll come back and get another 40 grand.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, go on, Christo, your views?
I mean, firstly, I had no idea our nuggets were so good. I mean, that's a bit
That's the real story.
It's a bit of good news for us, actually. Yeah. We're number one at something, nuggets. So, OK, just run me through it. So we've had one-in, one-out. Yeah. That's not worked. We had the smashing the gangs. I mean, they're quiet about smashing the gangs now, aren't they? That's not worked. We had the engines thing. Remember, they told China that the parts that they use for engines, they can't use those. That didn't work. The French can go into the water and stop the boats that way. That didn't work.
No.
Then we had the £40,000.
The 500 million to France.
500 million to France. That didn't work. And then we had the £40,000 given to migrants, and that hasn't worked.
We gave the French night vision cameras on the beaches so they could detect them, and they didn't turn them on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they didn't detect them and just let them go. They just didn't turn them on.
They didn't bother turning them on. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, what is going to solve this problem? What is going to solve this problem? I know the Reform have got the Navy idea, right, and getting the Navy in the Channel, and I also know that was tried by the last government.
It's not just that.
And they refused. We do need drastic action, like offshore processing or Navy in the Channel or something, because all of this fanning around the edges is not working.
No, it's quite easy. Hang on, it's quite easy. A, detain and deport immediately if they get to Dover. And secondly, take away the incentives. Take that website page down that's still up now that says, hey, if you're an asylum seeker, this is what you get.
We'll go
up now.
Joanna then Barry. But Joanna, what do you think about this fact that now they're just coming in the back of lorries?
It does just show the determination of smugglers with the combination of a very lax government who's too scared to do anything about it. I mean, we say we tried and failed at a few different things. We've hardly tried. Shabana Mahmood says that she wants to make the situation better. OK, well, try a bit harder and maybe have conviction when you're saying something. Get rid of the incentives. I mean, government sources had told me that even they think it's a joke, the one-in, one-out system. 305 people out, but we've taken in 367, something like that. So we're still taking... It's not one-in, one-out. I mean, we're still... It's a net gain for the UK in each system. We had the Rwanda scheme, which we paid loads of money for, gone. Labour didn't like that one. So what we just need is someone to stick to their guns and just say, look, enough is enough. There are no incentives for you to come. And also, like, we don't feel sorry for you, and we know everyone has a tough life, but, like, this is not... We're spending £6 million every single day. We're going to be talking about energy bills going up for the average Brit. I mean, no one cares about that, but we're fine to say, well, like, come over and then be back in the lorries. So that's mental, and they're taking the videos and they're laughing at us.
They are. I mean, yeah, it just needs to... So, Barry, OK, so this one-in, one-out deal. I mean, we heard Starmer there, didn't we? That clip of him there. So, you know, this is it. This is the one, guys.
You know what? I've been saying for weeks that for all the talk about send them back, what are they going to do when you send them back? They're just going to come back over again. Now, the trouble is, you know, Russell sits there, that's his policy. That's his policy. His policy is send them back.
No, it's detain, deport and remove incentives.
Yeah, no.
What's your policy, Max? It's not really working.
OK, well, look, I'll tell you what our policy is.
And you've been in power nearly 2 years.
In the past 18 months, we've cut the asylum backlog by 50%. We've removed...
Let them all in.
They're all voluntary. Most of them are voluntary.
Check it out, OK? I'm just giving you the facts. You can check them all on Google, right? We've cut the asylum backlog by 50%. We've removed 60,000 people who had no right to be here. The disruptions of organised immigration crime have increased by 38%, almost 40%. We've made 8,000 arrests. We've deported 8,700 dangerous foreign criminals who had no right to be here, and by getting better cooperation, not good enough, with the French, we've prevented 40,000 channel crossings, which would have taken place had we not had that cooperation with the French. You may not like it when I say that, but please do check it out.
Well, actually,
because you don't have to believe me.
Just on that, have checked it out. The UK asylum appeals backlog has now reached a record high, exceeding 80,000 cases by March 2026, almost doubling from 41,987 in late 2024.
Yeah.
The surge has been driven by an increase of refusals of initial asylum claims. So they're just appealing, aren't they?
And 68,000 boat migrants have turned up on these shores since you took office in July 2024.
Yeah.
The majority of those that have gone back have been voluntary because you've given them money to do so.
No.
We've just rehearsed. They're coming back.
Yeah.
Barry, come on. You can't defend the indefensible.
And you can't defend your policy, Russell.
I'm not in government. I'm not in government. You are.
Absolutely.
You're responsible.
But your policy is to send them back.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
And what will happen is they'll come back again.
Your policy is just nothing.
It's not.
To sit on your hand.
No, it's actually to do what Christa was talking about, which we are doing, which is to set up the offshore processing, which means, and that's what the one-in, one-out scheme is actually about. It's having an agreement with France, which they're not honouring at the moment.
So well.
OK, which they're not honouring at the moment, which says that when we send somebody back, they are supposed to then process them as an asylum seeker, and if they're not found to be genuine, they're supposed to send them back to their country of origin. In return, we're supposed to take somebody who has a reasonable chance of being somebody who we believe would be an asylum seeker, who has a reason, usually a family member who's in the UK, which they reunite with.
The problem is that we also have another big issue looming over this, which is that just this week, or a couple of days ago, one of these people that we were set to send back to France won an appeal. And it turned out that the court, in their infinite wisdom, thought that he should be able to stay because he couldn't access mental health care in France, which I think is probably both untrue and ludicrous anyway. But that could now cast doubt over whether or not we are able to send anyone back as part of this scheme, because that is a legal precedent. Or if they can argue successfully that they might not be able to access mental health care in France, every single one of them now just has to say that they're a bit mentally unwell.
Because the ECHR and the UN Asylum Treaty.
And they can't go back.
Both need to go.
So the whole scheme... So, I mean, what's the point of any of this? Is the only option just to deport them back to their actual home country?
Well, it's what Russell said. We need to get rid of those pieces of legislation because that's exactly what's giving them precedent to use that as a valid excuse and reason to stay. I mean, we've seen mental health. I mean, the mental health kind of labelling and spiralling has gone out of control in Britain. I can't believe that we're now using it as a precedent for illegal migrants coming over. I mean, we've seen it with PIP. We've seen people. Mental health, anxiety and depression. They're like 5 different categories for just anxiety and depression alone, and then all the rest of it.
And how do you get access to that help if you're a migrant? I mean, if anyone who's here in the UK already can't get any access to those sorts of services anyway. Do you know? Right, what I would do if I ruled the world, I would take the foreign aid budget, I would increase the size of embassies in certain countries around the world, and I would say to migrants, you go there. That's where you go, and that's where you get processed. You set foot in the UK, you get deported immediately. If you are genuine, you are processed there. In those countries, you would have hubs across Europe and across other parts of the world that those migrants have got to go to, and we take the billions of foreign aid and we spend it on that instead, and that's how you do it. So they never actually set foot in the UK, and if they do, then they're instantly deported, and if they're genuine and they're women and children or anything else, we bring them over from those centres across the world.
OK.
That's actually fair enough.
All right. There is a really good point, I mean, a series of good points, but a good point that you made there that reminded me of some viewers and listeners will remember this, which is there was, it was a young lady, she's only 18 years old, who was sexually assaulted by an Iranian asylum seeker. We covered that case quite a lot. And she was on record saying this, by the way, that she's been waiting months to get mental health support for that. Months. And that's ridiculous. Whereas, conceivably, this illegal migrant here appears to be able to maybe access mental health in this country.
It's not just that. Try and find a dentist. It isn't just that.
Although you went to Turkey then, didn't you?
I had to. I was forced to because of the migrant crisis. Thank you.
Also, illegal migrants aren't supposed to have access to our welfare system. That's one of the excuses that Labour use, and they say reform get wrong all the time, because when we talk about migrants on benefits, they're like, well, actually, illegal migrants can't get benefits. And if they're using this precedent to say, well, in France, they can't access mental health treatment, etc., I mean, is it just a matter of time then? Do we have to be worried that our welfare state will now also cover illegal migrants? Is this the slow kind of mission creep to extend that umbrella to them?
Right, final word from Barry here, and then we'll crack on.
Look, not much to add to what Christys is saying, because what we're trying to do is to set up those foreign centres, to have agreements with other governments that we can do that offshore processing. The one-in, one-out scheme was a pilot scheme to try and make sure that we could do that successfully. It's not yet been successful because France hasn't honoured its part of the bargain, and they need to actually, when we do return them, they need to then process them properly and deal with that. We, in return, are supposed to take somebody who has then been screened to come to here. So it's, you know, we'll get there, but it's not an easy fix. And the last government knew that when, you know, they called the general election before actually ever triggering Rwanda. 300 people going to Rwanda was never going to do it, and they knew that.
OK.
OK.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Right, OK, look, we have got the Great British Giveaway now, actually, yes, and it is the big...
92?
Right, as much as this, it's our biggest prize
It
this year
is.
so far. Barry, how much is it?
It's 92,000.
Whoa!
It's the same as an MP's salary.
I was just going to say, it's almost as much as an MP's salary.
All right, here's that could be in it to win it.
A camper van and cash could be yours in our very latest Great British Giveaway. You could be driving away in this brand new Benavan 122. This 2026 model, worth over £67,000, comes with all of the mod cons you'd expect. Alloy wheels, solar panel, electric step, and plenty of storage space. Plus, it comfortably sleeps 4 people. It's the ultimate home from home. And that's not all, as you'll also get an incredible £25,000 in tax-free cash to boost your bank account this year. It's a prize package worth over £92,000, and it could be yours. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, well, look, good luck, everybody. Now, very serious topic when we come back to this. I just want to quickly say why we're doing here. I was in Leeds yesterday, and every other person that came up to me to say hello mentioned this story, and I thought, actually, we've got to do it tonight. Britain has decriminalised abortion up to the point of birth. Is that murder? We're going to be discussing that when we come back.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, you talk about historical figures. There's a couple of historical figures sat right at the side of you. I think you should stick them pair on a £5.
We're not on a banknote.
Yeah, on a £5 note, a couple of rainbows on, and Bob's your uncle. I mean, it's just ridiculous, mate. I mean, Winston Churchill, one of our greatest heroes of all time, he led us to victory. If it weren't for Sir Winston, we'd all be... Who
was that? You can't see that on your screen.
Is that you, Dobby?
That's me, Martin. He's got a £5 note.
You look like...
Hey, they call you 30p, you're £10.
£10, yeah, I've changed my name now. Have we got Chopper and Nigel?
Hey, how come Nigel Nelson got the £50
That's inflation.
note?
Yeah, that's
excellent. It should be a euro.
No, I'm not on it. No, it's just not. It's again. It's
£10 Chopper. There you go. Thank you very much, whoever did that mischief. And by the way, Nigel Nelson should be on a euro. People like Winston Churchill stopped real Nazis, and now they're called people like you Nazis, because they've lost context.
What's his occupation? Birdwatcher.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, these people need to get a grip. You know, the people in my community are incredibly proud of our country. They're very patriotic. They sing the national anthem, they fly the flag, and when they see this nonsense and this bird twitcher, whoever he is, I don't know who he is, they get really, really angry. And I'll tell you what they do get angry with, when Nigel Nelson comes out with this nonsense about, you know, our stamps and our coinage changing every so many years.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
We're not wiping out Winston Churchill.
You are.
From
You are,
no,
that's exactly what you're doing.
You're changing a banknote. It's not a big deal.
Why aren't you on this show defending Winston Churchill, saying he should be on these banknotes?
I will defend Winston Churchill.
Defend him right now.
He doesn't have to be on every single banknote.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back, everybody. So, on Wednesday night, and you might have missed this because it did fly under the radar a bit with everything else going on in the world, peers in the House of Lords backed proposals to scrap criminal penalties for women seeking late abortions at any point up to birth. Currently, abortion is legal up to 24 weeks in England and Wales under strict conditions, with later procedures only allowed in very limited circumstances. But under these changes, which MPs backed last year, women can terminate their pregnancies after 24 weeks and will not face prosecution, which does mean that in, let's be honest with you, what would be the worst case scenario would be that a baby of 34 weeks in the womb, like one, by the way, on the screen right now, that is indeed the foot of a baby of that age, could be aborted. And can I just get a quick show of hands in the room? Right, who is against this? Yeah, that's pretty conclusive, really, isn't it? And like I said, just yesterday, I was amazed by how regularly this came up when I was out in public. People say it really surprised me, actually, how many people really thought this was like the big issue, right? Let's just get a view on this quickly from Joanna, and then we'll go to the audience.
Now, I think, you know, this debate comes up a lot, abortion rights. Obviously, there are loads of nuances that we should be really aware of. But the details here is that there are numerous women that already kind of take situations into their own hands, have home abortions for babies over the legal limit now of 24 weeks. They do it already. They buy pills online, they kind of go to backroom clinics. So the process of decriminalising for lots of MPs, the argument is that actually by decriminalising it will allow them to come forward, they'll do it safely, and it's all about women's safety. But again, then if you look at it, 24 weeks is already a very liberal limit that we have. I mean, in lots of countries like France and Germany, it's more like 14 weeks. So we are already at a point where the procedure to deal with a baby at 24 weeks to have an abortion it's not nice. It's really gruesome, in fact. So, I mean, we have to think about this, and we have to do it really carefully, because you have women's safety at a point, but then you also, I mean,
is it murder? Well, this is the big question. At what point does it become murder? Right. Okay, and then we'll go to the question.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right to try and just tease out the issues here. The first thing is that, as far as Parliament concerned, anything like abortion is always a free vote. It's not a whipped vote. And so you'll get people from all parties disagreeing over what they do. The second thing is to say that it doesn't make it legal to abort. So the legal abortions can only happen up to 24 weeks, just as has been the case since 1967, OK? What it's doing is saying that if a woman does then choose to abort, and obviously that would be either a backstreet abortion or terminating her pregnancy chemically or by some way herself, then she will not be subject to being sent to jail.
But should she be there? Because at what point is it murder?
Yeah, sure. I think any woman who is in that situation where she feels that she, for whatever reason she feels it, has to do that, is in a very bad state already, and therefore to criminalise it is pushing it a lot further. You cannot murder somebody who is not yet technically born.
I think we're in a very, very shaky territory here. No, we are going to go over to the audience here.
Sorry, can I just say, I mean that legally. Yeah. Legally.
OK, all right. Well, right, we are going to go to the audience now, and we've got Amy who would like to make a point for us. Amy, what would you like to say? And I think your mum's just going to hold the microphone up there to the machine. There you go.
I'm just wondering how our decision makers can come to a decision like this. Why does Labour think they have a right to literally allow people to murder their children? Are they that morally bankrupt?
Strong stuff. It's a great question. Thank you very much.
It is a great question. But that's why I made the distinction. It's not Labour. That's the first thing. But it's actually not a right. Nobody has the right to terminate after
let's just
24 weeks.
Christa, look, I mean, I'm sorry, I feel like we're skirting around the issue here of if a child is at 34 weeks in the womb and that is aborted, you basically have to just leave it to die.
It's a person by then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have to accept it's a person by then. I know that technically it's not physically been born yet, but I think we have to accept that. And look, the thing is, by decriminalising it, my worry is we're almost normalising it. It's becoming an acceptance that wasn't there before. Secondly, from what I understand, there are circumstances now. If a woman is after 24 weeks and goes to a doctor and says, I cannot continue this, I'm going to kill myself if I continue with this pregnancy, being blunt, then I think there are those circumstances where they can be given an abortion after 24 weeks. So there are mechanisms by which women can have it safely. But thirdly, by decriminalising it, well, if a woman is in a state that you've outlined, which I imagine would be an absolute angst-ridden, horrific state if they want to do it at that age, isn't that then for a judge or the CPS to say, well, look, those mitigating circumstances means we won't prosecute? So maybe we should stick to how we are.
Just on this, Amy's point there was that those words really stood out to me about being morally bankrupt, right? And I get that Barry's made the case about the law, about, you know, if you kill a fetus, even if that fetus is literally a day away from being born, that it's not legally a murder, even if that child was then born and then an hour later you did kill it, then that would be murder, which just seemed a bit of a thing. But Amy's point was about moral bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Do you think this is morally bankrupt?
I do, because as soon as you take away... I accept the technical legal aspect that Barry's outlined, but if you take away the sanction, so not the criminality, the sanction, I'm afraid it does seek to help to assist it to happen more, right? So it's almost, let's not say an encouragement, but you're taking away that sanction barrier, which means it's going to happen more. The whole debate about 24 weeks, that emanates, albeit back in 1967, and I know that technology and medical care has moved on. There has to be a threshold below which that child is seen to be able to be aborted, and above that, not. And the reason for that, of course, is that 24 weeks was seen as, past the point of 24 weeks, the point that a baby would be more likely to survive outside of the womb, right? So I think you have to pick a threshold, a point in time, as government and the legislators have done over many, many decades, and say, OK, below that, and we can have the whole kind of, pro-choice versus, otherwise debate, but you have to have a threshold. And to have the threshold, which is effectively a minute before birth, is way too far over the line. I completely agree with Amy.
OK, and so we're just going to be quite quick with this, but if you don't mind, because it's fabulous to have Amy and family here as well, and I was hoping I might be able to just ask you a quick question, because in order for Amy to ask that question, you've had to do something really quite remarkable, I think. You just talk us through the process of the machine that Amy uses.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, Amy uses her eyes. This is underneath is called an eye gaze, so it sends, infrared lasers into her eyes, and where she looks at the screen, she either spells things out or she's got things pre-programmed. So, yeah, that's
amazing. Fantastic. Well done. Thank you very much, Amy. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you coming and really appreciate you asking your questions. Loads on. This energy bills issue is only going to get worse. It's on the front of a couple of tomorrow's national newspapers. I just want to know from the audience, we'll talk about it as we come back, is it a price worth paying, do you think, to stop Iran getting nukes and to get rid of the Ayatollah? So we'll talk about that in a sec.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
With high pressure bringing sunny skies to the UK and France this weekend, low pressure has been forced to relocate elsewhere. And one area of low pressure will stay close to the Canaries and Madeira during the next week, bringing slow-moving heavy showers and thunderstorms could cause flash flooding. That also bringing some showers into southern Iberia. Plenty of fine weather through France, into Italy, but another low around Greece and Turkey will also provide heavy showers and thunderstorms.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The next 24 hours will see very clear skies across many parts of the UK, leading to frost and fog patches first thing this weekend, followed by a beautiful sunny Saturday for the vast majority. High pressure remains in charge as we go into the weekend. The one fly in the ointment is this weak weather front that's going to bring thicker cloud into the northwest of Scotland overnight. Outbreaks mostly light rain for the Outer Hebrides, the Northwest Highlands, Orkney and Shetland. Now away from this area, patchy cloud, but more especially mist and fog patches forming overnight. So poor visibilities, but the fog's going to be shallow, and despite it being a cold start to the day with a frost in places, actually very soon through the morning the sun will warm things up, the mist and fog will lift, sunny skies will be back across a large part of England, Wales, southern Scotland, Northern Ireland as well, doing very well for sunshine during the morning, but cloud is starting to lap at the shore of the north of Northern Ireland, and thicker cloud will remain through the Northwest Highlands as well as the Northern and Western Isles. Some light outbreaks of rain coming out of that cloud, but nothing particularly significant. And further south, there's barely a cloud or a drop of rain in sight. It's a blue skies day for England, Wales, southern Scotland. Northern Ireland, the sunshine turning milky as thicker cloud rolls in. And in the far northwest, feeling cool because of the cloud and those outbreaks of rain, 9 to 11 Celsius. Warm in the sunshine further south, but that leads us on to another clear night and another frosty start in the southeast. First thing Sunday, any early mist patches soon lifting, another sunny one to come for the southern half of the UK. Thicker cloud further north for northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, and some light outbreaks of rain. Next week brings more changeable weather and, later on, a colder feel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Everybody. So, breaking news this evening on the front of the I newspaper for tomorrow, obviously. The UK is facing new tax hikes over the worst energy shock in history. Experts today warn that energy bills could rise by more than £300 in July. But is that a price worth paying to destroy the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime, to stop them getting nuclear weapons and to destroy things like their intercontinental ballistic missiles? A bit of context, I suppose. The Iranian regime is responsible for at least 20 late-stage terror attacks that were foiled here in Britain over the course of the last few years. I mean, are there other solutions? Do your taxes have to go up? There's a lot to go out here. So I don't know if anyone's got the microphone in the audience for this one, but if they don't, then put your hand up in a bit and we'll get it to you. Christys, you look disgusted by this.
I'm not paying any more tax. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm sorry, we've got the highest taxes in history. You don't tax a nation into prosperity. And also, our benefits bill, rightly or wrongly, is absolutely insane. And so if we're going to do anything, I'm afraid we need to start trying to rein in some of the spending. Our debt is absolutely out of control. And people cannot... I believe, absolutely ideologically, that no one does better with your money than you. A government's job is to help you keep more of your money, not to take your money from you, because they'll get their pound of flesh anyway. You'll spend it going out for dinner, you'll spend it on the high street. But the idea that they're going to take more, I think, is absolutely repellent. And I can't help but feel that some of this turmoil is an absolute gift to Rachel Reeves and this lot, because then they can say, oh, look over there, it's not our mismanagement, it's Trumpflation, it's Brexit, it's the black hole, it's, you know, Uncle Tom Cobley and all. It's ridiculous.
Right, Russell?
Yeah, look, Christys right. This is absolutely cover from a left-leaning newspaper here in terms of getting Rachel Reeves off the hook. You'll see the same in the Mirror, I'm sure, over the next 24, 48 hours. Look, there's really no relationship between this tax thing and the Iran thing. Yes, of course, Iran is pushing fuel prices up, but let's just be very, very clear in terms of what the Labour government have done to this country over the last 2 years since they've been in power. Inflation is double what they inherited. Unemployment is now at a 10-year high. Borrowing is at a significant high, in fact, the highest it's ever been. Those things have nothing to do with Iran whatsoever. So the fact now that we have sky-high inflation, rising employment, I mean, maybe growing inflation and growing unemployment were the things that Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer were talking about when they talked a lot about growth. Growth in inflation, growth in unemployment, growth in public borrowing, probably the wrong kind of growth that I would suggest.
The unemployment is just
to answer the question very succinctly, should we be doing this with regard to changing the regime in Iran? Yes, absolutely. It's not just about terrorism, it's not just about their nuclear capability, it's the fact that they're hanging and beheading and killing 40,000 of their own people just for being protesters, just for being gay. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. That regime needs to change.
This is the thing. So you've got this story tonight, which is about taxes might go up, but obviously this time last night, pretty much, Benjamin Netanyahu stood up and he was of the view that he was like, look, we are telling you that Iran was about to get nuclear weapons, that they would have used them, that they have the intercontinental ballistic missiles, and that we need to get rid of them. And so that now it's going to be uncomfortable with your bills, but if you look a little bit long-term, is this a price worth paying so that we don't live in a world where the Ayatollah has nukes? That is his view. Barry, what's yours?
Jonathan Powell, who is the security advisor, said just 2 days before the attack on Iran that the talks about a deal over the nuclear issue were making really good progress. The Pentagon, we found out today, advised President Trump on 2 occasions that he should not launch the attack on Iran, but he went ahead and did so anyway. When you think about what this means, it's not just about oil and gas and petrol. It's actually about every aspect of our economy. Without oil, you don't have the petrochemicals and the plastics industry. Without that, you don't have the fertilizer for your farms. So the fact that the prices of fertilizer are going up means that the price of the carrots that you pay, you buy in the shop are going to go up as well. So this is going to affect every aspect of our cost of living. Now, on the energy point itself, so it's not just about the price of gas at the pumps or the price of your fuel bills. It's actually everything. If you look at the price of energy, the price of energy for the average household will come down by £117 next month, in May, because of the price cap. No, that's the price cap that was set 3 months ago, and that to bill you on the average usage.
Okay.
So the average price will come down 117. When it says it'll go up possibly by 300 in July, that's from the price that's already come down by 117. Okay, so they're talking about an increase of just under 200.
But it's also much higher than you inherited 2 years ago.
But my point is simply this: if you go to war with Russia and you put sanctions on the Russian regime, like with the war in Ukraine, what happened was the price of energy shot up. Oil and gas shot up. So we've seen two price spikes here, not just Iran.
Okay. Right.
We've seen it with Ukraine and with Iran.
Yes.
And it will have...
fine, but sorry, but with because we are right, but with the Ukraine one, that was seen as a price worth paying because we didn't want to give in to Putin. Whereas with Iran, it's a bit like, I just don't want to pay it. I find that a little bit...
Well, the difference is this. In Ukraine, Russia started an illegal war against...
Iran tried to launch 20 terrorist attacks on our country.
They started an illegal war against Ukraine. In this case, America and Israel started an illegal war against Iran. And that is... I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's an illegal war in international law. Now, you may say you disagree with international law. You may say you don't care. That's what people said.
Against a country that's tried to massacre British citizens on a grand scale, like a load of times. That would be my view. I mean, I don't know if I'd have dropped the bomb on the Ayatollah, but someone did, and we are where we are now, and I wonder whether oil and gas is a price worth paying for the moment to get rid of it. Anyway, look, we could obviously talk about this. We've got the paper show for next, so we'll get what's to it. Coming up, it is, of course, time for Greatest Britain Union Jackass, so we'll do that in just a second.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining the Late Show Live. Are you excited for the arrival of our Harry and America's Meghan?
Oh, look, we're always excited for the arrival of anyone who's royally adjacent, and that's what you can call them these days. What I'm mostly excited about, though, is in several decades of covering the royals, of course, when they came here in 2018, they were at the peak of their global power and fascination. Meghan announced that she was pregnant with baby Archie. They sat on the sand. Meghan baked banana bread. We couldn't get enough of them. We absolutely loved them. But here, 7 years later, this is a country built on mateship, on loyalty, on service, and I don't think they represent those characteristics anymore.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I said last night, I went on a bit of a rant saying, you know, Meghan especially preaches humanity and compassion and forgiveness. I mean, look how she treated her dad. There's some event in Australia, either in Melbourne or Sydney, where they're holding a speech, basically. Tickets start at £1,000, with tickets rising to more than £9,000 sterling for a platinum table of 8. Do you think, I mean, who is buying those £9,000 tickets, do you think, Angela?
Look, we don't have that kind of wealth in Australia. Well, certainly not that sort of wealth that would pay for those sort of people. I think we would pay for technology experts or thought leaders, but I don't put Meghan in that category. Look, one of those events, the one that Meghan's speaking at, is the Besties event, where we think we'll just hear, what I suspect is we'll just hear more of the same that we've heard in her podcasts, which, you know, if anyone who listened to them, they were as boring as batshit. So the fact that she's going to charge this amount of money, that event is only thought to make £500,000.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Wonderful live studio audience, people coming from all over. We've got people in from Merthyr Tydfil in Wales, fantastic. Also, Northumbria, yes? And Northumberland. Oh, got it wrong. I knew I'd get it wrong. We got Newcastle, everywhere. And as well, we have got 4 sisters in from Shout It To Me. Where are you from again? Staffordshire. 4 sisters from Staffordshire. There you go. Brilliant. Right, anyway, on that note, let's do Greatest Britain Union Jackass. So, Greatest Britain, starting with Joanna's, please.
I picked Dr. David Harris. He is an academic. He was at the University of Plymouth Marjon University, and he had academic standing, and then he criticised critical race theory. The university then told him he has to take his title away, and then also it just went against the university's values. So obviously he's lost his entire career and he's been put under report, but he's got his academic standing back and he stood up to the university and he's still there, so he wins.
He won. He won. There you go. Good start. All right. Fantastic. Let's go for... I don't know whose this one is.
Is it me? I think it's me.
Yeah,
because
go on.
I think we've got a clip of it as well. And this is GB News superstar Michelle Dewberry. And this was her impassioned speech. And she was not taking any prisoners when she was lecturing the commentator Matt Stadlen about women's safety.
I actually found it pretty offensive, really, when people start pulling this whataboutery card to talk about the disgusting individuals that are part of this country, and then you start using that as a way of almost shaming people into not pointing out the obvious danger that are coming into this country from some of these men.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. I mean, she just absolutely didn't take any prisoners.
No, OK, there you go. I imagine he's taking it well. So, let's go to... we got... Is it Russell's Greatest Britain now, I think it is, yeah?
Yeah, President Donald J. Trump, here's why.
We didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
To her face. To her face.
Right to her face.
She's in the room.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. There'll never be another guy like that, will there? Go on, Barry, who's your Greatest Britain?
Yeah, there will never be another guy like that, but it wasn't the greatest moment in diplomacy, was it? I mean, it really wasn't.
It was hilarious.
OK, my Greatest Britain is the professor of surgery who performed the first prostate removal surgery on a patient who was on a bed 2,400 kilometres away. It was telesurgery. I think it's amazing. So my Greatest Britain is Professor Prokhar Dasgupta.
Wow.
Okay.
God.
Long arms.
Yeah.
Right, let's do... No, we're going to have to... Oh, no, we're going to vote on this, aren't we? Sorry. Right, OK, so we are going for any voters for the Professor? He got his job back, any... All right, good. Right, and then we've got Michelle Dewberry. OK. We've got Donald Trump. The fantastic long-arm
professor.
I'm going to actually nominate my own Greatest Britain of the day, and that is Amy, who has... Amy is today's Greatest Britain, but fantastic nominations there, everybody. I'm being told that we have no time for Union Jackass. We've only got 40 seconds, so we can't do the Union Jackass, I'm afraid. But it would have been a choice between Angela Rayner, the French Courts, Ed Miliband or Nick Timothy. So that's what it would have been. Does anyone want to shout a name at me for who?
Nick Timothy!
I think we're going to give it to Ed Miliband.
If you'd have known the French court story, you'd have gone for that one.
All right, look, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's made the journey here, and I just wish you all the very best. Okay, safe journey home, everybody. We've got the newspaper show coming your way, so don't move. See you soon. All right.
you could be the proud owner of a brand new Benevan 122. This very latest 2026 model comfortably sleeps 4, comes complete with built-in kitchen, compact washroom, and is worth over £67,000. But that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £25,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like in the coming year. For another chance to win a camper van and cash, text prize to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB20 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of May. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
Every week there are stories that shape the national conversation.
We'll be discussing that.
And on Saturday Morning Live, we break them down.
Is that true? This is fascinating, isn't it?
The politics, the headlines, the debates everyone's talking about.
And the questions that you want answered.
Do you think that was a legitimate attack for him to make? What led you to set up this fantastic movement?
You know what? It's a great question, Olivia.
So what are you waiting for?
Your weekend starts here. Saturdays at 10 a.m. only on GB News.
OK, welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. This time, it's the late edition. It's all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and breaking right now. President Trump is considering winding down the war in Iran as he claims the US is getting close to achieving its objectives. But reports, on the other hand...
You know, we don't use the Strait. The United States. We don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one. I don't want to do a ceasefire.
Yeah, very conflicting news this evening because President Trump has apparently also said that he doesn't want a ceasefire, and the Telegraph is saying that they're planning to put troops on the ground for an invasion of Karg Island around Iran. So there we go. And
we were not involved in the initial strikes on Iran, and we will not join offensive action now. The United Kingdom played no role in these strikes.
We were not involved in the initial strikes on Iran.
Well, we've had another U-turn. However uninvolved we may have been in this war, Sir Keir Starmer has now given the green light to the US to carry out strikes on the Strait of Hormuz from British military bases. So, sorry everyone, we are now involved. Meanwhile,
you fix the foundations.
Fixing the foundation.
To fix the foundations of our economy.
Get ready for more tax. That's right, hiking taxes by tens of billions of pounds. Well, there's more to come, according to the iPaper, but that is because, they say, of that war in Iran. And you can see this earlier.
One is incomprehensible. We as Australian Muslims. Get him out of here. He's the president.
I wonder if it was at that moment that some of the woke brigade realised they'd been a bit naive. The Telegraph has also gone with the story about the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, being turfed out or heckled at a mosque. Joining us this evening, we've got Labour MP Barry Gardiner, the Head of Communications at the Adam Smith Institute, Joanna Marchong, and Broadcasting Royalty, Christo Fufas. But first, let's get those latest bulletins with Tatiana Sanchez.